What's up, everybody? Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Space Engineers. When we left off in the last episode, we made some modifications to the turtle miner and got it pretty much fully operational to where now, even fully loaded, it can still fly around and do stuff. So that was good. We're also working on, or I've been working on rather, recharging the batteries on the rover. Now this was an interesting thing because it's kind of one of those where having a server may have actually been more beneficial because this was only charging when I was running the game. So there's a couple times where I was working on some other stuff and I was like, you know what, I should probably just pull this up in the background and leave it sitting. So they're pretty much charged. Let's see, the turtle rover, we've got 2.3 megawatt hours built up, and they can only store 3, so like it says fully recharged in like an hour. So they're pretty close to being recharged. So I think that'll be enough to get us where we're going. My plan of attack is to kind of go up this ridge and then around, basically. I might not be able to do it that way. I don't remember where I was going to end up going. Probably right around where my welder is, right about there, and kind of go down into this valley and then over to this edge. But I kind of want to make the base in this region right in here. I'm actually thinking some kind of hangar down here for ground vehicles, and then like kind of walking it up in layers and eventually having some kind of observational area with glass. I think would be cool, but those are kind of like big stage things. My plan for now, because realistically there's no way I'm even going to get to really building the base probably in this episode, because we got to get over there, get set up, and that little miner drone only has enough space that I can really only bore a small hole before I've got to go back and unload it and stuff. So realistically, even using something like the PAM script that lets me automate, which I might look into because that would be really useful for this little driller drone, and I could carve out an area and just go this, like do that. But even using something like that, it's going to take a minute to do some of that. So the plan at the moment is to get over there, break this down, break that down, get everything going, get over there, and then establish kind of a little outpost right outside, like this, like some kind of windmill turbine area, maybe some bigger cargo container type areas where if I did set up a PAM script for the drone, that it would be able to dump a bunch of stuff and things like that. So that's kind of the main gist of the idea. So I'm going to work on, while it's still a little bit dark and it's harder to see anyway, I'm going to work on breaking all this down, breaking this down, and then making my way over there. And I will be back when I'm done with that. Also, I wanted to note, I'll probably be changing up my little notes here and there as I get more focused on my YouTube stuff. I'm still kind of split focuses at the moment, but when I get more back into my routine, I'm going to probably be focused a little bit more on trying to iron out some of the bugs and kinks in different ways I produce content and do things and schedules and all that. But I did want to make a note. If you guys are interested in seeing these episodes a week early, be sure to check out my Patreon page. It helps me out, obviously, and you get to see stuff before all the regular people see stuff, because being a patron is cooler. Anyway, that's my little shameless plug there. No worries if you guys don't want to do all that. I totally get it, but I wanted to throw it out there because not everybody is aware of it, so it's there. But with that, I'm going to clean up this area, get some stuff stored, and then make my way over to our new base location and see what we can work on there. Okay, so I'm at the new location, which actually reminds me I need to make a point here as to where I'm at. The reason I picked this spot, I'm actually going to jump into spectator real quick so it's a little easier and I don't waste my jetpack. I picked this spot over here. We came from out in this area, somewhere right about there where that cobalt and nickel mine shaft was, and we were looking this way, which I did like the look of the mountain, but as I got over here towards the foot, there was a lot of different hill areas. There wasn't really that many flat areas, and I didn't really want to make more work for myself to build a flat area. And I found this little section here, which admittedly isn't really flat, but compared to the rest of it, like where you got these spots and things, or particularly I saw a few over here where this is really bad. You got a lot of little crevices and things. I figured this would take the least amount of work if I wanted to build like metal plates or something to level it out. And even given the size of my turtle rover, you can see that this little plateau area from like a little left of that tree to that ridge there is wide enough that if I built like a big rover or something, I could still manage it. But between minor drills and minor drones and all that kind of stuff, I can probably level this stuff out, or if nothing else, start a little bit higher and then build like a ramp or a platform that leads out. But honestly, this seemed like a pretty good stretch where I could make kind of a runway area if I needed to, without too much work, so I went ahead and did that. Now, as you can see, I've built a little outpost thing here again for powering, but I did a little bit different this time. So, based on some conversations I've had with everybody in the comments, I decided to space these out a little bit further and see if I got more of an optimal wind turbine-ness to it. Oh, that's interesting. We're working on an eclipse. Now, I don't fully understand everything about wind turbines yet, and from the sounds of it, not everybody does either, which is good. Makes me feel a little smarter than I am. But the main thing is, like, I don't know if having the mountain behind us will slow them down at all. I'm not really sure if that's a factor, or if it's just almost like torches in Minecraft, which is kind of the example I used in some of my comment conversations, of like they're just a flat, you know, if you're on a grid and it's X amount high and it's the, you know, it doesn't matter if there's a rock right next to it, it'll still be fine. So that part I don't know, but I spaced them 8 blocks out, and what I mean by 8, let me show you real quick, is from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then a block. So there's 8 blocks in between them per the center, because technically they're a 3x3 block. So I haven't really run any numbers, but I think they should be okay. And I'm also testing that a couple people recommended that it wouldn't matter if they're upside down or not, and I'm not even sure if I could put one on the ends there if those would be interfered with by the other ones at all. So we're going to try upside down ones and see how that works. The other thing that I'm doing, I've also organized my, I think I talked about that in the last episode, that I organized my containers a bit to where we've got a materials, a tools, refined ore, and there should be just an ore. So that's another thing. Unfortunately, this seems to be going into the wrong container. It's probably the one closest to the assembler. Why did it not make metal grids? What are we missing on the metal grids? Cobalt and nickel. Do I not have enough cobalt and nickel? There's nickel, and there's cobalt. Why didn't it pull it in? That's weird. And, oh, are we low on iron? Oh, that's actually what we're missing here. It's not the cobalt and nickel. Oops. Okay, so I'm out of iron. That's lovely. Wasn't expecting that. I don't think I really need it yet. Where is the assembler? I can't find it. There it is. So, let's check this real quick. So, it has optimal clearance, and the max is 361. And none of these are different. That's the thing I wanted to make sure, because although I've had discussions, again, in the comments with some of you talking about how it seems difficult to get them to be fully optimal, in that I think per the devs they should be able to achieve like 400 or something, but everyone seems to say that they can never get them to do that. How did I miscount on the girders again? Oh, that's not good. I don't have any more iron. Well, that could be a problem. I was making the interior... you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change up... Or, actually, let's break down some of these. Alright. Still feel like this is a little bit of a... if I need all of that or not. Let's just go to like 50. Can I stop it? Nope. Okay, it's in assembly mode. I still feel like the interface could use some work, honestly, if we're being honest. Okay, and I only need like 2 of those. So let's just do that. Somehow I ended up with an extra steel plate. Whatever. Don't care. So yeah, this should improve our power grid a little bit more because now we have 4 more wind turbines on top of the ones that we had before. So that should help with our power production. And everything's at 361. So 361 seems to be the max that I've ever gotten it to do, I think. Now this is on a 20 block high pillar. And I think, like, I started here, and then 20 is the last block, and then the wind turbine. So there's that. Now let's see. Everything but the metal grids, we got this going. So I'm going into a large cargo container, and the plan at the moment is that if I started to use the miner as a drone, the idea here is that we'd eventually put whatever we needed. I forget what you need for the PAM script, but I think it's like a programmable block and like a antenna, I think. So on this one, we'd put like the programmable block, the antenna, the remote block, whatever we need. Sensors. I think you need sensors to figure out where the fields are and whatnot. But yeah, so once you put all that on that and then the necessary things here, I was planning on using like a couple of conveyors and like a single and then an elbow, and then put a connector for the driller to dock, and then I could build 2 or 3 large containers without affecting the wind turbines, I believe. And in doing that, we'd have quite a bit of storage space temporarily just for the miner to go back and forth, but it's also being charged by the wind turbines. It would essentially be kind of a bare bones power grid and storage point for the drill, or the driller. So that's kind of what I figured I'd build it that way to begin with, and right now, you know, we're charging the rover, which is fine, but it's also kind of going to work as a future-proof situation here as well. It does also look like, I know this is probably going to sound dumb, but I hadn't really confirmed it, but it does look like shadows also affect the solar panels. It should, realistically, but I wasn't sure, because this one has 3, this one only has 2. And the only thing that's different is the wind farm is in front of it. So, with that, we're pretty set up. Oh, the other thing I want to do is turn the miner things back to auto. Actually, these may be better to do recharge, now that I think about it. Now that we're where we're at. So, how are those looking anyway? 15 minutes fully recharged. Okay, because it's probably switching these... Yeah, fully depleted in 42 minutes. So it's pulling from this one. Which is fine for now, because honestly I'm not planning on taking the rover anywhere, and the grid is probably powering all of our machines enough. Actually, I don't know why I've left this on, because it doesn't really need to be on. We're not really refining and doing anything, it's just pulling extra power. And all it's doing is refining like nickel and cobalt, which I don't need it to do, really. So yeah, I'm trying to do better about keeping everything a bit more organized, just so everything's a little bit easier to access and it's not as hard to figure out where everything is. So I need more steel. How are you doing anything? What is it doing? I have both of these off, but I'm still getting the sounds. That's better. No? Audio bug? Oh, wait. This happened before. Yep. Crud muffin. Alright, that's what was going on. probably also why I was running out of iron too, is it was probably making just a crap ton of construction components and stuff. Because what happened was, I had tried to do the build storage, actually I could probably break down, nah, I don't need to, because I'm just going to do a mining trip with the driller once it's recharged. What I started to do was, in my build here, I had a large cargo container, and I went in here and did the whole add it to queue, but for some reason it wants to add it to the survival kit, and I don't know why it keeps wanting to do that rather than the basic assembler, which is probably why it first came up and said there was 2 components that couldn't be made, and I checked the component list and I'm like, no, I can make everything. Totally forgot about the survival kit. That has been both a cool thing and an annoying thing, because at the moment I kind of need it to respawn. I don't have a good way to respawn without it. But at the same time, it keeps wanting to, like, all of my auto things keep defaulting to the survival kit rather than the assembler, which is really annoying. So yeah, at this point, I guess I'll wait a few minutes and let this charge up, because if it's going to be charged in 15 minutes, or 13 minutes now, once it's fully charged again, because I had drained it so we could get over here, once it's fully charged again, we'll jump over and try and start boring a hole here. Let me get up here real quick and do a little bit of a breakdown. I thought about even doing like some photoshopping screenshots, but it's just going to take more time. So what I'm thinking is carving out a straight line here, which is part of why I mentioned maybe doing the PAM script, because it would let me actually designate a square line. But for today, let me know what you guys think, but I might end up trying to use that next episode, but for today, I think we're gonna do this. So, I want to try and at least carve, for now, a width about the size of the driller, or turtle rover. I'm not sure if I'll go up a little ways. I might go up a little ways. I may not go straight in from the ground, but I might. I'm not sure on that. I might go a little bit higher and then build my own ramp later. But we're going to start with trying to cut a little slot in here, and then we'll widen it out. And I'd like it to be about 2 to 3 times higher than the turtle rover is the overall height I'd like it to be eventually. And I'm going to kind of try and keep the shape of the mountain intact. And what I mean by that is, like, we're going to go in here and we're going to start digging, but by the time it's like 3 sizes higher, then you're like up over here. So at this point, this is where it squares off, and the rest would just be like an entry point, but this is where the hangar doors and stuff would be, is the idea. But eventually what I'd like to do is put like hangar doors up and down. Maybe that'll be the height, is vertical and vertical, not horizontal, up and down, positive and negative vertical doors, and let that be the size of the hangar. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out. But I want a hangar here for rovers and ground vehicles, and I'd like to be able to have like a big bay for a huge one, or like 2 to 3 medium, like the rover size, like 2 or 3 of those widths is kind of the idea. And then somewhere in this height, eventually, the idea is, I might do a little crude drawing or something here, but eventually the idea is we'll have a hangar level, we'll have a processing level that'll be above that, and we'll have conveyors running up to the processing level. Then there'll be like an observation. Eventually, I would like it the peak to be my power, and then you have like a power cell conveyor, not conveyor necessarily, but a steel frame running down that keeps the power connected to the grid, so that our windmills are, air quotes, at the height they can be, you know, like legitimate windmills kind of thing. And let's see what else. That's the main ideas. Eventually I'd also like to have some vertical hangar things where we can fly out from, but that's the overall plan. The only other thing we could do is, once we get kind of semi-base established where we got a small hangar and a production queue, I'm thinking of iterating where we start small and then build into that later. Like, we'll leave this power grid for now, but it'll end up connecting into the rest of it and so on. But then after that we could go into space. So let me know if you guys would prefer to keep building out here and expanding our ground game, or rather go into space. I'm looking at the clock. I don't have too much longer left in the episode, but what I'll probably do is wait for this to charge, and then we'll go in and do a test run and start carving out and see how long that'll take. Okay, so it seems that the turtle miner is now fully charged, so we're going to go ahead and take a quick trial run to see. I'm not 100% confident on this as far as I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we're going to end up taking quite a bit of time to do the whole, let's, like, redo all this stuff and carve out a hole here, particularly just because of the amount of stuff that the turtle miner can handle, which is not a lot. Now, the one thing, I'm going to try and figure out how low I want to start. I'm thinking somewhere about here is probably ideal, but I want to try and keep the miner as level as possible, since we're kind of going for the whole carving a square kind of thing. But we'll see, and I think my inventory is filled somewhere around 45,000 kilograms, I think? Maybe? Something like that. I know I hit a point where I just stopped gaining resources. Or, I mean, filling up weight-wise or anything like that. 7? Oh, 50. Okay. Somehow I'm getting more out of this than I was on the cliffside. Okay, this is bad. Apparently my cliffside calculations were not 100% accurate. That's really weird, actually. I could have swore that's we had filled this up before. What's different? That's really odd. Because I don't think it will fly like this, but yet before we were fully loaded. That's really weird. Alright, we're gonna have to pull an emergency situation and can I drop item? Let's try and drop it out of the connector, since it's not only right there. It's not gonna let me do it, is it? Huh. Okay, that's kind of dumb, but whatever. Oh no, that's ironic. It drops it, but it drops it like out here. Okay, that was stupid. This still doesn't look like it's necessarily. Oh, there we go. Now we're flyable, sort of. Okay, so I may have to do some redesigning on the miner, because it doesn't seem to be able to hold up very well under full load, which is not ideal. Now, again, if I'm using the PAM script or something, I could actually do the whole if it's like 70% full or something like that, to go ahead and where did that big rock go? Oh, there it is. You know, if it was like at 70%, then turn around and go back and dump the thing. But I'm still not too thrilled with this, because that's not a very sizable chunk of the mountain there. So I think, here's my theory. I think I'm going to build a second driller. I'm going to keep this one for supplies at the moment, and we're going to go to about 47,000 kilograms as our cutoff point for now, and when we hit that, we'll know to come back and drop everything off. And that'll supply us with the stone that we need in order to kind of basically get more stuff going and get our basic resources so that we can build other stuff. But I think I'm going to use creative and redesign another type of ship where... Why is that not going in there? Oh, maybe because it's not on. So yeah, okay, it's because it's not on. So yeah, I think that's the theory that I'm going to work with for now, is that the current one we'll use to gather resources until we can get a bigger one built, and I think I'm going to build a bigger one. I'm not sure. I thought about doing like a wheeled base so we don't have to worry as much about the weight issue, but the weight's still going to be an issue if we can't do it. So I think I'm going to go with a flyable one, but I may go with a bit beefier. And what I mean is like maybe 2 large thrusters on the side so that I don't have all these little ones, like 2 or 3 batteries, a couple of storage crates, you know, to where it's like it's really going to be able to be multi-purpose functional, but we're not having, because with a small miner like this we can continue to chip away, but we don't have to worry as much about resource gathering because we've got plenty of power. Wind thankfully is infinite, so at least in the game at the moment. And I don't know, I haven't really done the comparison. I think I did before, but the solar panels are not shown. Where are they? The solar panels are currently producing about 61. So I'm actually thinking, I haven't done the math. I think I mentioned this a couple episodes ago, but I think the wind turbines are actually doing more than the solar panels are. And so they're a lot cheaper to make, and they're supplying a power that goes all through the night and stuff too. So I think we're fine in terms of just chipping away and gathering resources, because honestly that was a lot of stone to get resources from, even though we weren't getting an iron node or anything like that. So yeah, that's my thought process. Now, if you guys are patrons and you're watching this a week early when it's exclusive to Patreon, feel free to send me comments or check the Discord channel and contact me there or something like that. If you have suggestions for designs, equations like, you know, don't put more than, I think somebody told me, 1 small battery can run about 7 to 8 thrusters, you know, stuff like that. Or if you guys wanted and didn't want to waste time watching me design stuff or build stuff, I suppose if you already have a really cool driller that you've designed, let me know. The only reason I say Patreon only is because by the time this hits YouTube, I'll probably have already made the next episode, in which case suggesting different builds may be a moot point because I may have already built one. But feel free if you want to anyway. Just know that I may have already finished the next episode. But with that, we're off to a good start. We've migrated over to a new place. We've got a better power grid going, and we've got the start for a storage and kind of outpost setup going on here. And we've got a pretty good plan. So I think we're going to wrap things up here for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace.